Hi guys. Okay, we have already set up registration login. We added some styling as well in our previous video. If you haven't done it, I would highly recommend you do that. So you have a completely fresh application, working fresh application, which is register is working, login is working, and also we have our smart navbar here. But there's a problem. This whole user thing is on the left side. We want to make it on the right side. To do that, I'll just do this L. Let's go ahead and refresh and cool. So let's go ahead and check if everything is working. If everything works fine, actually I will help you to understand the concept of validation. Um, After that, so let's go ahead and see if everything works. Okay, so everything works. Let's go ahead and log out this user. Okay, uh, so we're able to log out the user. So actually we'll update our document as well. We'll add e-part here, and this is at validation to login and registration. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And to do that, we'll just go to our register controller first, and to the login I will try to add the validation here. So validation is like we're not checking that okay the name is of specific length, the email is actually an email or not, so the password is of some length or not. So to do that, Laravel actually provides a validation functionality out of the box. So for each actually form request, we can add our own validation request where we can put the validation, and it will work seamlessly and smooth and awesome. So let's go ahead and create our first registration request. And to do that, let's add another terminal here. PHP artisan make request registration. And let's reference this registration request here. Okay, so in registration request we only have three parameters for the role, so we will add the validation for these three parameters. Okay, so to add this, name, email, password. Okay, so we'll add the rules for these three parameters. So here we will just put authorized to true. So any user can come in here and register. So for this, let's go ahead and put the name here. So name we want it to be string, and it should be maximum 32 characters, and it is required for the registration. It should not be null. So for email, we want our email to be required, and it should be of type email, and it shouldn't be greater than maybe 32 characters. Let's make it 64, and the password is also required. And it should not be greater than maybe 10 characters. Okay, I think that's very good for our purposes. Let's go ahead and try to check if the validation works or not. Okay, so we'll go ahead and register. We'll put a name, we'll put an email which is not of type email, and it's a garbage data. So go ahead and refresh it. So if we refresh it, we get nothing because we didn't added the code to render this validation errors. So let's go ahead and do that. So to do that, I will add our validation messages here. Actually, let's move these messages into one file. Let's remove this one out, and let's go to partial and add a file here, session messages.play.php. Let's put it here, and for the validation we'll just put here if errors.any. So we'll put danger, please check the form below for the errors, and here we'll iterate on error. will display this error. Okay, and here we'll just put error. Cool. So let's go ahead and include this file here. Partials.session messages, and let's go ahead and refresh this. Okay, and cool. So we got our validation errors as well here. So as you can see, like the email is not a valid email address, and the password must be greater than 10 character. So there is one problem here. So all of our data is lost. So let's fix that. And to fix that, we'll just go here and put this old of name here. What this does is, like, whenever you submit a request, actually it keeps this value in the session for one more request. So we can get this from the session using the old method here. Let's go ahead and do this for all of our parameters. I think this is fine. Let's go ahead and refresh it, and let's submit some more garbage here. Okay, but this time it preserved the name, email, password. Actually, we should not preserve it, so that user know what he's typing, and also even the Laravel doesn't preserve it. Cool. So I think we are set for this. Let's go ahead and register another user, John Doe. John at localhost.com. John. Okay, so our registration is successful, but we still have one problem. There is no minimum length defined here, and user with any actually password, even with the one character, he can register, and same for the name as well. Let's go ahead and add minimum validation here as well, and let's go ahead and do that as well. Minimum 6 and maximum 10. Let's go ahead and refresh it and see if it works. Okay, if we put here, okay, so the name must be at least 6 character, the email must be a valid email address, the must be at least 6 character. Okay, so let's go ahead and see if it's working fine now with the valid email. John Doe, John at localhost.com. John Doe. Okay, so now we have a problem. This email is unique in the users table, but we're trying to create another user with the same email. So to do that, we'll just use the unique email validation as well, so that users should not see this big error messages. So let's go ahead and do that. To do this, we know that our email is unique in the user table, and the column name is email as well. And let's go ahead and refresh this again. Okay, cool. This email is already taken, so this email cannot be used. So let's make it John1 and password 123456. Let's register. Oh, cool. So it worked. Let's go ahead and check the database as well. Okay, so we got John1 at localhost.com, and we got we got all of our users. So let's go ahead and add this same validation for the login page as well. Okay, let's go ahead to the login and create another request, login request. Okay, so request is created. Let's go ahead and add some code in the login request. Okay, in the login, we will again mark it as true. We have only 2 parameters. One is email. We'll add the email rule here, and the other one is password. Okay, so email is also required. It is of type email. It is maximum 64 characters. This password is required. It's minimum 6 characters and maximum 10. And let's use this request in our login controller here. Let's do that. And yeah, the last thing we need to do, we need to include the same session errors here. Let's go ahead and do that. So I think we need to add also errors here. So if there is only one error we're trying to display, we can show it. Let's go ahead and check if it works. Cool. So validation is working fine now. The email field is required, the password field is required. Let's go ahead and add some dummy data here. Okay, the email must be validated email address and the password may not be greater than that field. So I think this is fine now. John at yeah, the password is still small, we cannot log in. Let's go ahead and log in with my user. Cool. So in this video we'll try to understand the validation and how validation actually make our life easier. So and also I think you may have noticed that, so now our code is abstracted from the validation logic here. We don't need to add the validation here inside our controllers. Inside our controller we should only write the business logic. Okay, we are just saving the users here, that's it. All our validation is in our request form, and our views are separate. We don't have to worry about the views as well. Our models are separate, they are in the database, and the controllers, we just use the models. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. See you in the next video. Bye bye.